morning, everyone.
Morning.
How are you today? You had a good Sunday? That's good. I want to thank God and Meshach Sama first for allowing us to be here praying together and expressing our gratitude to God. And also I want to thank the dedication of all members that are supporting our church with whatever dedication. Like Alan today doing his dedication, and Michael the MC. So I remember doing some dedication to God and Meshach Sama to support the church that we are following from Meshach Sama. And I believe some of you already have seen this video of Meshach Sama's sacred word, and it's so beautiful for me from that part. Even on the video it changes, no? From the part that Meshach Sama was starting to believe in the faith and in God, then he started the piano as well, like a very emotive, like a piano song behind Meshach Sama's words. And for me, that was very strong. That happened to Meshach Sama in 1920, so he was still young. And the salvation that Meshach Sama was saying through the Omoto religion, I believe is the same salvation we can also bring to everyone from our church here in Australia as well. So Meshach Sama showed us through these words that he was a normal man like all of us, and he suffered probably more than all of us as well. But after all that suffering, he could finally awaken his soul to the mission that God was already preparing for him, probably much before Meshach Sama already born on earth. And this year we will have the opportunity to pray together with Kyosho Sama on the same day, on the 15th of June 2022. Usually 15th of June every year is the time we celebrate the Paradise on Earth service. But this year, Kyosho Sama guided us to celebrate for the first time the birth of the Messiah in Meshach Sama. So Meshach Sama in 1954, when he celebrated the service, he celebrated the provisional ceremony of the birth of the Messiah. So it was not the actual true ceremony for the birth of the Messiah. And after more than 68 years, finally our church is celebrating that birth of the Messiah. So this year will be probably the only year that all the world will unite in one heart on the same day to pray to celebrate the birth of the Messiah. And for that, our monthly service will not be on the first Sunday of June, as we always have, and the 15th of June will be on Wednesday. So, talking to most of the members, we decided that probably 7:30 would be the best time for everyone. Even if we made the service at 7 o'clock, would be very hard for a few members to get to the church. And if we make too late, it will be very hard for them to go back home as well. So we decided for 7:30. So if all the members can make effort to be together celebrating this service, will be much appreciated. Of course, I spoke to Japan, I spoke to the Sacred Ground, and they also sent us a very nice guidance. They said, of course, the presential service at the church is the best way for all the members to celebrate together and pray for the celebration of the birth of the Messiah. But for those that are unable to attend at the church, they can also attend through the Zoom meeting, through the broadcasting. And also, even the members that cannot be at the Zoom meeting, but they can at least pray in tune from their homes or from wherever they are, if they are still working as well. But they can, at least at the same time, they can try to raise their heart and with their solemn as well, they can surrender their heart and be together with us, united with us, celebrating this so special ceremony of the birth of the Messiah. So if all the members can attend here at the church, I will be very grateful, and I will send some emails as well and some notifications to remind all the members that the next monthly service will not happen on the first Sunday, but on the 15th of June. Okay? Thank you. And today I want to talk a little bit as well about the third phase of joy in our church. Why I decided to talk about this again, it's because every time that I am going and meeting the members, I can still feel that this is the questions that most of the members always raise. So from now, how are we going to do? So if we have a members gathering, if we are not channeling joy, so what we are going to offer? But we can continue to understand how Meshach Sama wanted us to evolve our thinking, our thoughts, to give more value to the soul as well. And first I always start to teach them. I can also refer to videos for all of you. I also already displayed those videos at our church. One of the videos is called Beyond Joy, that explains all the history of the church, explains that the Joy before was just a therapy, like a Japanese therapy, and it's still one of the churches of Sekai Seikyo, the Toho no Hikari. They still have like a sort of like a medical center, using Joy more as a therapy as well, and even having doctors there receiving the people from outside and local people as well, but more as a mini health center and not as a religious activity as Meshach Sama wanted. And even Meshach Sama in life, can you imagine how Meshach Sama was suffering to see so many people not understanding his wishes, that we needed to move on from the therapy to the joy most of you know. The joy most of us know is the one that we channel the light through our hands. So that's the joy that most of our members know. And this joy, when Meshach Sama started, many followers didn't want to follow what Meshach Sama was saying. And many people left the church as well because they were more, they believed more in what they were doing for so many years. Meshach Sama did more than 8 years as a Japanese therapy before Jore. Then Meshach Sama moved on to a different level of Jore. Not as a therapy anymore, but then was focusing more on the spirit. Then I believe all of you already heard about spirit precedes the material, isn't it? So everything happens on the spiritual world first and then on the material. Then Meshach Sama was teaching about the Jore that most of us used to practice. But then, after Meshach Sama became a Messiah, then Meshach Sama evolved to a different kind of Jore. So many people focus on what we are not doing anymore. Like, oh, now we don't have Jore anymore. But that is through the hand. We still have Jore. Meshach Sama said so many times, the hand of God and Meshach Sama is inside of our soul. We are receiving this light of God and Meshach Sama inside of our soul 24 hours a day. So this way of acknowledging that God is actually sending us this light of Jore 24 hours a day. If you're thinking that way, it's much stronger than just depending on someone to come in front of you and raise the hand. Of course, probably materially, we feel more like, oh, someone is doing something for me if they are in front of us physically and raising their hand physically. So we feel more in that way. But doesn't mean that if you do a very sincere prayer in your heart, acknowledging that everyone is already receiving that light, and surrendering everyone's heart to God through the name of Messiah, I believe in that way is even more stronger. But we cannot see anyone in front of us raising their hand, isn't it? Doesn't look like. How can a person say, oh, I am praying for you, so you just need to believe that the person is really praying for you, because you don't see. I believe that is the difficulty that most of us are, most of the members actually, because all of us, even including myself, at the beginning, when I started to really practice the Jore through the Sonin, I felt very strange as well, because we used to think that the light is coming through our hand to the person, and then the Jore practically changed to like a totally reverse. We were surrendering the feelings of everyone to God through the hand of Jore, which the hand of Jore was not our hand. The hand of Jore was God's hand and Meshach Sama's hand, receiving everything that the person needs to surrender to God. So when I started that as well, it was not natural for me, because everything that we do for so many years becomes our habit, becomes our culture, becomes part of us. And for us to walk away from something we were doing and we believed wholeheartedly in it, and we have to change a little bit the way of doing that to try to focus in a different way of doing. I believe it's difficult for all human beings, even for myself too. I don't have any, I am not ashamed of telling you that even for me it was very hard. For me it was really hard. Imagine a minister channeling Jore for 40 years and then suddenly we don't channel anymore. And we are practicing Jore now just through the song. But if you do sincerely from your heart, you will feel that it's so much stronger than just raising the hand. If you do from your heart, that is the big difference that I believe. And another very big point is that even Meshach Sama told his wife, Meshach Sama told Nidai Sama, from now on, when you get a purification, you don't need to receive Jore anymore. You just need to repent. You just need to say sorry and repent deeply in your heart. And then God will materialize His wishes inside of you whenever God feels it's the right time to do so. But you don't need to receive Jore anymore. And also on the last guidances through the videos that we received so many important notes from Meshach Sama's assistant that on the 19th of April 1954, that was when Meshach Sama became a Messiah. When the Messiah was born inside of Meshach Sama. That was on the 19th of April 1954. Then on the April 28th, just 9 days after that, Meshach Sama, one of Meshach Sama's assistants recorded the following. One of Meshach Sama's assistants, he said, Meshach Sama practices Jore every day, but he does not raise his hand, and he does through the song. Just 9 days after he became a Messiah. Then on the same day, one of his assistants wrote what Meshach Sama said. From now on, I will do everything with the words and the song. So these were words of Meshach Sama. It's not that our spiritual leader is inventing a new technique of Jore. The spiritual leader is really trying to understand why Meshach Sama changed it a few times the way that he was channeling Jore. First was just as a therapy, then evolved to using the hand. But then Jore evolved again to be done through the song. So now it's more natural for me. Now I can really understand, and I can truly, practice the Jore that Meshach Sama tried to tell us 68 years ago. But when I started, of course, because of my culture, because of my habits of channeling Jore, I used to channel Jore how many times a day? I used to channel 30 people, or my record was 60 people in one day. That was my biggest record. But even now, after Meshach Sama spoke those things in April, Meshach Sama said 2 more things, very important for all the members to remember. On May 13, about a month after Meshach Sama had a stroke, on May 13, it is recorded that Meshach Sama said, I have discovered a new Jore through the song. Meshach Sama's words. Then on December the same year, on December 11, 1954, on the same day that he announced the 3 points that Meshach Sama announced to the members that was very important. Jorei, and what was the 3 points again? Jorei, dedication, and also, oh my God, I can't remember now the 3 points. I will bring you the later, huh? No, the 3 points he said was the people have to be very strong in supporting the church through the donations and through their dedication. Then Meshach Sama said also the people that have a very strong joy. And the third point was people that guide other people to the church. So these was the 3 points. Yeah? So Meshach Sama on the same day that he said that, and then Meshach Sama said, it is recorded that Meshach Sama ministered Jorei to one of the members, and he performed his Jorei about 1 minute, just 1 minute. And after the Jorei, Meshach Sama said, next time it won't be taken even a minute to channel Jorei to 1,000 people. So for me, my record was 60 people in one day, trying to channel Jorei 15 minutes to each person. How many hours? Try to calculate how many hours of Jorei I gave on that day. It's a lot. And Meshach Sama said, in the future, and Meshach Sama said that 68 years ago, in the future, in less than a minute, we can channel more than 1,000 people. And Masaki Sama was saying on the video, it's 6, how do you say centésimos de segundo? 0.06 second to each person. So can you imagine 0.06 seconds for you to channel Jorei to one person if you calculate 1,000 people in 1 minute? You don't have time to just even raise your hand. So this is how Meshach Sama was showing that our church will need to evolve to a different way of channeling Jorei again. We already evolved many years ago from the therapy to the Jorei we know. But now we need to evolve again for this new way of channeling Jorei from our soul, praying truly from our heart. So I finally recognized deeply in my heart that the importance of the song that Meshach Sama is teaching us. And now we can learn to do what Meshach Sama and Jesus did with deeper understanding and believing that we also need to live as they lived, returning our hearts to God. They lived repenting and asking God to forgive all humanity. And I believe even Jesus and Meshach Sama, they were surrendering the heart of all those people. Not just all the members, but all humanity. The only difference that we need to surrender to God in the name of Messiah. Because if we surrender to God just with our own thoughts, it's just our own prayer. But if we surrender everything to God in the name of Messiah, one with Messiah, we are surrendering to God with this power of a Messiah. It's different. So this is how Meshach Sama wanted us to evolve in the way, in the method of channeling Jorei. And Meshach Sama taught us so many other things before he passed away. And he said so many times that from now on is the era of sonic. And another point very important on that video that Masaaki Sama said 1 month ago, I'll tell you the name of the video again, is what is more important for us than joy. If you want, I can send you that video on your phone again for you to watch. Just SMS me and say, please Minister, send me the video. Meshach Sama said in February 4, 1955, just 6 days before Meshach Sama passed away, Meshach Sama said, one day when I recover from the stroke and I'm able to speak more, I'm going to say something that it would be totally unexpected and surprising for all of you. And Meshach Sama said, please look forward to it. And Meshach Sama passed away 6 days after he said that. So I truly believe that for us now, we can continue to receive the guidances of Meshach Sama. But the only way is through our spiritual leader. Is the person that Meshach Sama said that he was going to act inside of the spiritual leader, from the spiritual world. I believe the spiritual leader is really materializing all the wishes of Meshach Sama for us now, for today. So many years ago, of course, we understood Meshach Sama in a different way. But now our thoughts and our sincere heart are trying to be more in tune with what Meshach Sama explained to us after he was born as a Messiah. This period of 10 months before Meshach Sama passed away. And last service this month, in April, Kyoshi Sama said in the service in Japan that he wants to walk together with all the members on this all-new divine work of salvation that Meshach Sama is showing us and guiding us. So Kyoshi Sama never tell us, I want you to follow what I'm saying. Kyoshi Sama always say that Meshach Sama is showing us, Meshach Sama is guiding us on this new way. And Kyoshi Sama said one thing very beautiful in his words. I will try to translate into English because the guidance was in Japanese. Kyoshi Sama said, God is the main character, the main actor in the center of our soul. We probably believe that we are the main actor in our life. We believe that we are in charge of everything. But Kyoshi Sama is saying, God is the main actor in the center of our soul. And he said, we need to return everything from our hearts to God for God to use in the work of renewing everything on earth. So sometimes we are thinking that we are returning everything for God, just for the purification to get better. But it's not. It's for God to work on the renewal, on this new birth of everything on earth. That's why we are surrendering our hearts. And just before I finish, Kyoshi-sama said so many things so important that I will try to pass to you in English. So with love, let's align our soul to have a different relationship with God. So we need to have a deeper relationship with God. But how can we do that? Surrendering everything with this communication. That's why I believe Kyoshi-sama was saying about the importance of breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. When we are breathing in, we are receiving the light of God, isn't it? When we are breathing out, what we are doing? We are surrendering everything into God's hand in the name of Messiah. And also, becoming paradise-like persons. Make the paradise in our hearts. No matter what happens, we need to decide first in our heart to return to this paradise within us. Remember that God is using everything in all situations to make us return our hearts and everything to God. For that, we need to try not to let go of God, who is my main character. If we think that God is truly my main character, my main actor inside of my soul, we can put our wishes a little bit on the side, and we can, like in Japanese is sunao, is like obediently try to just surrender everything that is in our heart. So in the name of Messiah, let's head to coming June 15 on the birth of the Messiah, on this ceremony for the birth of the Messiah. So let's, with gratitude and joy of serving on this one kind of work salvation, let's prepare ourselves to try to be together and pray for God and Meishu-sama, truly celebrating the birth of the Messiah. So thank you very much for today, and I hope that I could share with you a little bit of most of the members was asking me. Many members asked about Jore. So I believe the way that our church in Japan is presenting us all these videos and all the new translations of Meishu-sama's teachings and all the new translations of the writings from Meishu-sama's assistant, how precious are those writings for us. So if they didn't write anything, how we would know about this strong evolution from the Jore to the hands to the Jore to the Sone. So I believe even probably Kyoshi-sama would have a bit difficulty as well, isn't it? But of course, somehow, even without the writings, I believe Kyoshi-sama would receive the feelings of Meishu-sama. Of course, through the writings, probably made it easy. But I believe it's something that non-human being would be able to feel what Meishu-sama wanted. In the way we were going, probably we would always be chanting Jore, just more as a healing, but not as really surrendering our heart, surrendering humanity's heart to God. So I believe our work now, it's more that work. of praying sincerely in our heart. Even Meshach Sama said, on the year of Sowing, please pray in your heart. That prayer in your heart will communicate with God. And then we will be working on the year of Sowing. Thank you very much. And may God and Meshach Sama's wishes materialize inside of all of you. And I hope I can see most of you on the next service. I understand that Wednesday night will be a bit of a challenging for most of us, but please try to do a little bit extra effort, because this is not going to happen every year. It's just one-off. So this is the only celebration, the only time that we have to celebrate the birth of the Messiah together with Kyoshi-sama. The whole world is going to be the same. The whole world is going to do the same as we are doing as well. The whole world will do the service on the 15th of June in tune with Kyoshi-sama. So let's ask God and Meshach-sama to give us the permission, the spiritual permission, to be able to participate on that day. Okay? And please remember, there's 3 ways of participating. One is presential here, the other is through the Zoom, and the other is, even if you cannot do one of those 2, you can also, anywhere you are, you can be praying in your heart, celebrating the birth of the Messiah. Okay? Thank you very much, and may God and Messiah bless you. I forgot also Happy Mother's Day for all the mothers for the next Sunday. Until next Sunday, if I don't meet all the mothers, including the mothers that are watching us from the Zoom as well. So Happy Mother's Day for everyone. Thank you.